Okay, to disassemble this Kaossilator, there's 4 screws on the metal. And then I've already run the wires, but I have to take it apart because I'm pressing against one of the buttons. Once you have the 4 screws, then you push up on this on the back end. Carefully pry it up. After you take that off. Carefully pry it up, but you'll notice in the upper corner there's a little piece of metal, and if that gets tucked down in there, you want to pull it back up the next time that you put it back together. It attaches to this, and it sort of provides a little grounding area. Next, guess I didn't need to pull out the batteries, but I choose to do so. And then there's a screw here, but I haven't put it in because I don't think it's all that necessary, but be aware that it's there. And now there's 2 tabs along the bottom that you need to push in. And maybe use your spooger to pry it open a little more. Let's get this one. Just push them in lightly, and the 2 things that holding bottom plate on. Off. There. So now the back is done. Take the back off. And apparently I'm pushing on this button too much, too hard. Seems to be working now. But anyway, these are the 4, and in my diagram would be red, black, and white, and then the black ground. On the other side, I'll show you where the sustain connections are. So this is the loop or record. Loop or record, tap, and the scale. I've also attached a positive to the incoming voltage here, but more importantly, a ground to this. Then you need to slightly pry this piece up. This is not a connector, it's actually soldered in, so you want to be careful of it. The thing you want to be careful of is the connection to the actual touchpad, and you want to lift up this side and pull away so that the switch that's here matches the switch down there. So okay, so these are the other two. These two are the sustain. There'll be a resistor in series to that, and I'll show you that. This is the gate button. Maybe we'll try to keep that out of the way too. It's always a deal getting wires to behave. Maybe I'll put a little piece of tape on that. Just to keep it away from the batteries. Okay. But if this does come out, it's just a slide in. You want to be careful with it. So, putting it back, first thing you want to do is line up the switch with the little plastic piece that matches it. Sort of just lightly press this in. Make sure the switch works. I don't know if you can see that, but the little black switch there. Okay. And then put them back in. I'm a firm believer in putting the screws, all the screws in, and then tightening them down, because I've had plenty of times where it didn't line up after I tightened the first screw down. Now, to put this back in, I don't know if you can see, there's these double tabs. You know, line it up, push it in, and then line the second one up. And for this one, I really had to move the tab a little bit to get it to slide in. But press it all the way. Make sure that button still works. Then you know what, I might add a little more space. Okay. That way this has plenty of room to get out. The button still works. Make sure no wires are being pressed against. And start with the top. So just press it into place. A slight push to here. That one's in. And this probably needs to come down a bit. Yep. There we go. Sorry, had a little technical difficulty, but here's the little piece of metal we want to make sure is touching that. Press down on this and snap it into place, making sure it lines up here. Now just put the screws in. Put the top back on. Make sure it turns on with batteries. And there we go. Okay, that's the disassembly and assembly of the Kaossilator. The effects processor uses the same PCB style and the same plastic box, and so getting into it and out of it is pretty much the same. This here is a picture of where the wires go. I have used a connector, actually 2 connectors. 6 of them go to the button style things, and 2 of them then go to ground and 4.5 volts coming in, but I didn't really use that. Here's a detail shot. I know the pictures can be kind of fuzzy, but the red going to the record, the white going to the scale. These are just the kind of the non-ground side of the buttons that are in front of it. The tap is harder to see. It's above the other 2. The black wire goes into the shadow, but that's the point at which you solder to. Also, there's several grounds on the PCB, but this is a convenient place to put it. Next, we have the other side of the same board on the Kaossilator, and that is showing where it goes to the sustain, both in and out. They're the same, essentially, but with a 50K resistor somewhere along the line, and then the gate connection. The other thing is that you do want to push in these wires to keep them not just out of the way, but from being on top of these transistors so that they don't press against the case and make it difficult. Here's a detail photo of the gate connection so that you can see it better, and also one of the sustain 2 connections that will eventually have a resistor running between them. Next, you can see the Kaos effects processor is pretty much the same thing, only in red. The wiring is for memories, locations of storing of the particular effects, which I put buttons on the front of the Kaossitar. And assembly and disassembly is pretty much the same thing. Here's a detail shot in case the original is hard to see. So this is a wiring diagram of how I decided to hook things up to the Guitar Hero and box for the Kaossilators. You may find you want to do it differently, but this is what worked for me. So I decided that the neck of the Guitar Hero would be really controlling the Kaossilator, and then I would have different buttons for the effects. I mean, put those right onto the guitar body. The starting at the top had gate and tap connected. Didn't use the middle button, and the next are scale and loop record buttons, which are together because erase is the combination of both of those, and you might, while playing, want to erase what you've recorded. Below that is the sustain button, which was a momentary press and hold, and then press and release button, so that I could sustain without having to touch the Kaossilator itself, and requires a 50K resistor somewhere in the circuit. I only had a 47 and a 2, but that was enough to get it to work. Everything then in the box are, on the red side, the Kaos effects unit, which are all the outputs, like to headphones and line out, and the 2 memory positions, which are buttons I scrapped from the Guitar Hero cheap version that I had. What follows is just a few photos of the process of building the case for it using the Guitar Hero neck and the original button circuit board, adding my own button where the green wires are. Attaching the neck, I wanted it really sturdy, so I used all 4 holes to hold the neck to the clipboard. So I bent back the metal piece to the clipboard to attach all 4 screws to. And yes, I have a medical dummy in the background that is some other project for later. To make it even stronger, I had a friend create a metal piece that will go all the way to the back of the clipboard itself, connecting the 2 together. So to wrap up, I cut holes for the Kaossilators and the buttons, headphone and line out jacks, and put foam on the inside that holds the Kaossilators in place a little bit better. So that's pretty much it. Like and subscribe to Zen Southern Art and Sound if that's your pleasure. I appreciate you, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.